Yo, yo, yo. Hey, guys, welcome back to another awesome edition of the Best Practices Show podcast. My name is Kirk Behrendt, where we have one goal, one game, one thing to do is to bring you the best information, the best thinking anywhere to improve your practice in your life. And today we do Coffee Talk on International Podcast Day. Talk about the podcast. We actually cover some things on best advice you've ever heard. And we have a little segment called What is Laura Thinking? So you get to meet two amazing team members of mine, Laura Barry, who is our office manager here, and she keeps everything running, and Andy Konkle, who is our video producer, and he is just a magician. So, make sure you guys check this out. I know you'll enjoy it, and we'll see you guys soon.
Live.
We are live. Hey guys, good morning. It is Friday morning, and today is Coffee Talk on International Podcast Day. Is that right?
Yes, it is International Podcast Day.
Okay, so this is my first thing. It's okay. Number one, I've got two amazing human beings with me, Laura Barry, who is our office manager here and my professional babysitter.
Good morning.
And Andy Konkle, who is our video producer. He is all things magic around here. He just makes crazy magic happen.
It's easy.
Well, it's easy.
Well, you guys make it easy.
Well, that's kind
There's
of
magic in the air.
There's magic in the air. So first I want to say, just like when you have Coffee Talk, you need coffee mugs, which Laura got us. Look at these. You got to put the logo on there. So thank you, Laura. Very nice. It actually tastes better too. Now, here's my first thing. I'm excited. So Andy came to us yesterday, and he's like, okay, all right, we're firing this up. We're having a lot of fun doing the podcast. The podcast reached an all-time high yesterday of downloads. So I just want to say thank you, number one. Number two, it is stupid fun, like ridiculous fun that we get to do this and just share best practices and help this great industry. And you were like, okay, let's just go. We have two studios now. We've got our studio over there, which is our, soundproof-ish thing, majiggy.
It's got fancy lights.
It does have fancy lights. It's got the light. Yeah, I can change colors. And then we have this one in our training facility. So you're like, well, let's go live and just talk on this morning. And you have an agenda for us today. But I do want to say this. I was talking to Sarah last night, my wife, and this whole week has been like, today is national this day. Today is national. It's like, I think Hallmark did that. It's like every single day is like some type of national day, don't you think?
Yeah, because it was son and daughter.
No. Yeah, it was son-daughter day. Yesterday was coffee day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I found out at the end. So
I was tardy on the sun.
You were tardy?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the Sunday?
On the sun.
On the sun thing.
But he's not on Facebook, so he would.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. So where are we going today, Andy?
Well, I thought we'd celebrate International Podcast Day just a little bit. That was the whole idea of getting behind this. So I didn't even know it was a thing until I was looking at a calendar for social posts, and I'm like, what's this International Podcast Day? So as I was doing a little research, I see that it started in 2014, kind of going along with what you had said about everything being on the calendar. There's a National IPA Day, the National Coffee Day, National Sunday. So they're like, why don't we celebrate Podcast Day? So in 2014, it started, and it's just a way to get this industry all together and celebrate the good work that things like the Best Practices Show do, bring people together, inform them, and things like that. So that's kind of the purpose. It's a reason to get together and celebrate these awesome podcasts.
Yeah, and so the whole pod. So you're going to see, guys. This is we're going to take you behind the scenes. Typically, these are two of the most organized human beings. They've like, you've got your notes. This is, what is that? Is that for today? Andy's got like pre-production. I have cards that have nothing on them, so I just write down and this card has just one thing. I wrote 2014. Look at that. That's pretty cool.
That's a good note.
So step number one is surround yourself with great people and don't try to be good at things that you're not good at. But number two, the podcast thing. So this came as an idea many years ago. It's probably been it was our fourth year doing the whole podcast. And it was just a way to get together and celebrate. And if you're in the dental industry, this is so fun because if you're a speaker, if you ever spoken anything or put a presentation together, you put all these slides together and you try to make all the animations work and you spend all this time putting it all together. And then you do these webinars on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night and you're exhausted and for 2 hours and you're like, wow, there was 31 people on there. That was awesome. And that's all important. And those are good. And then I started doing the podcast. I'm like, wow, there's no preparation. You just get people on there that are really good at stuff. And you go, how did you do this? What do you see? And they love talking. And you just keep asking them questions and they talk more. And it becomes a mutually enjoyable experience for everybody. And I absolutely love it. And as we started doing the podcast, like I was talking to my daughters, I'm like, it's crazy. Like, this is so fun. It's like, downloads and they're like, just you're thinking too much. Like it's just a conversation over coffee about things that matter. And I love it. I love what we're doing. I love what we're heading. And so when it comes to International Podcast Day, I'm in. So, and we're experimenting with the live thing. We don't know how this is going to work, but we're just adding it to the whole process.
Thank you to now we're up to 2 viewers. We had 4 for a second, so thank you.
Hey, that's awesome.
Hot second.
Yeah. To all, should we thank each one of them?
Yeah.
So Laura, tell us how does it really work here? Like, what do you do every day other than just keep us all aligned? And,
I would say no 2 days are the same. So I can come in with an agenda in mind and odds are I maybe get a third of that completed.
Yeah.
So it's very reactionary and not necessarily bad, but whatever comes to my table or comes to my desk, that's what I...
Yeah, but your list is pretty long. I would consider like if you're getting a third of it done every day, that's pretty good, right?
Well, yeah, it still leaves me anxious.
Does it?
Yes, I don't like lists.
Right.
And I've shared this with you, I go for the low-hanging fruit, but I can't do that here because the low-hanging fruit gets put back on the tree within 24 hours.
There's a lot of fruit.
Yes.
Like every day we're creating fruit, right?
Yes, and more fruit.
They used to call it popcorn. We would just be popping popcorn all day long.
Right,
and
we don't have low-hanging popcorn though.
Yeah, we don't.
We got to come up with a better saying.
I agree. So, but it is true. It's constant. There's a lot of things. There are some things that are consistent and there's always things that are moving.
Correct.
Yeah. But, and again, the important piece is this. You're pretty organized. You're very organized. Actually, she is somebody who gets things done. And so here's one of the one of the lessons that we talk about a lot is, self-awareness on this podcast. Finding out what you suck at is really important in life and in business. And I would suggest do that as fast as possible. It took me a long time to figure that out. Actually, I'm still trying to figure that out. And then when you spend your journey finding out what you suck at, you're also going to spend your time trying to figure out what you're good at. There's a couple things that you're good at. And so that's the biggest piece. And in a business, when you start to realize what you're good at and you spend more of your time doing what you're good at and you surround yourself with people that are good at the things you suck at. Am I saying that right? Like that makes your life better, right?
Find that balance.
And the reason we brought you on this podcast is we're going to test this theory because next Friday, you're going to teach the To the Top Study Club. And see how that goes. No, just kidding. But the point is like we were talking about costumes this week. And so Andy, our amazing video producer, is putting together an amazing series of videos coming up. And we won't tell them what it is, but you mentioned a costume and you ordered it that second. It showed up yesterday. It fits. It looks great.
It's lovely.
But the point is you get things done, you follow through. And one of the early tests that I took was the Kolbe test. And the Kolbe test has 4 indicators on it. And one of the important indicators I had, the person who did the test, it's follow through. So on follow through, I actually scored one of the lowest scores they've ever seen. They're like, wow, you're one of the worst on the planet. And I'm like, thank you. And they're like, you should, you're good at starting things, but you are horrible at finishing things. I'm like, whoa, that was a big day for me. So, if you're listening to this, the message is like, don't fight that. Like I used to try to follow through on things. And now I can.
Just find a Laura.
Find a Laura. You can't have ours. Or I just saw Andy's video this morning. You guys will see this coming up, but you just produced another amazing. I've tried to edit that stuff. It's terrible. Like I can't do it. So good work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But again, like I said at the beginning here, you guys make it so much easy. It's so much fun. It's kind of getting out of your comfort zone. Well, not so much for you. You do it, but I know a lot of other members on our team don't necessarily. It's not their favorite thing. I know the first time we said, Laura, you're going to be in this video. She's like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
So, but everybody, I'm never going to make anybody look bad. Like I think that's what people are most scared about in being in video. It's like, oh, people are going to judge me for the way I come off or not. But I mean, I take it pretty personally. Like if I ever make somebody look bad, then I'd feel terrible. I mean, so my first test is to pass it through you and pass it through a couple other people before I'm like, is that okay? Yeah.
Well, you're one of the nicest human beings on the planet. Inherently, you can't.
I concur.
Would you agree?
I don't know.
Like, have you ever seen him yell? Or get mad? Ever?
No.
Like when you get do your angry face, like, "Arr."
Well, that's his mocking of you.
Angry face.
Do you have an angry face?
No.
Frustrated?
I mean, I get angry, but I don't know that I've ever really yelled at somebody now that I think about it.
Ever?
Well, I don't have kids, so.
I mean, a dog would make you angry? Somebody? Anything? A bad driver?
Angry,
but like a neighbor or anything, like anything?
I'm really going to have to think about it.
Whoa.
Wow.
When was the last time you yelled at somebody? Let's not go there.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
So I do want you guys to mention this. So like one of the things that we really work hard on is improving the culture in dental practice. And we work hard on it here. Now, we are not a perfect business. Like you wouldn't say, yeah, we figured everything out. This is pretty amazing. There are a few things that we do well and there's a few things that we don't do well. I'm not sure which yet, but like, so you guys have worked with quite a few places, what would you say, like in an environment like where we come here and well, what works and what doesn't work? And be honest.
Oh, well, I think the inclusivity that I think you've put great intention in getting the right people together. And I had worked for a former company, and I say this all the time, I would still be there if it hadn't been for an acquisition, blah, blah, blah. But they were big on the right fit.
Right.
So it was an IT consulting firm. So yes, obviously you have to be IT savvy, which I wasn't. But then they went for the cultural, do these people fit in what we believe in? And that was many, many moons ago. And we still have gatherings. We had an office in Madison, Appleton, and Milwaukee area. And we can still get a good 20 plus people together for a mini reunion. I mean, that just showed how solid and the intention in gathering the right people to accomplish whatever your business goals were. So, and I think that you guys do the same thing.
Oh, so go back to that. When you say they went all in on like a cultural fit. So what did they do in order to do that?
I think it was just really good screening, interviewing, the people that were bringing on team members, again, making sure that they had the skills to do the job. But that's only a part of the hire.
Right.
The other part is the person side. And especially in IT, you can have some quirky folks. Sometimes they're very IT focused, but they still, you want to be able to have fun. You want to be able to talk to people. You don't want them just hands down coding, just making sure there's that balance. So, and they were very successful with that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see that because I don't think that's not a wish, it's not a ploy, it's not a business strategy anymore. I mean, I think it's the single most important thing ever is like you got to go to work and enjoy what you're doing.
Well, creating a team, not just the I, me, because especially in consulting, you can go off to certain companies and maybe get more melded into that culture. But at the end of the day, you really are our employee and it's our culture that should supersede everything.
Amen, sister. Amen, sister. And so you guys will notice like we're in downtown Milwaukee and they're putting up a high rise like right across the street. And so You never know when the jackhammers are going to start ripping up the street and all that kind of stuff. So if you hear that in the background, that's what's going on.
Everything's okay. It's progress.
It's all progress.
Yeah.
It's all progress. So Andy, same question for you. What works? What doesn't work?
Yeah, well, I think Laura touched on it really well. For me, I was at the same place for over 20 years. And for many of those years, I thought it was a great culture fit. Got along. Everybody in my area sort of seemed to be striving for the same goals, lifelong learners, always looking back, trying to improve on your situation. And then, the pandemic and a couple other things sort of changed that in my mind. Like, I didn't feel everyone was all on board anymore. And, as I had plenty of time to think about it, I'm just like, this isn't working for me anymore. And when I started doing my research and saw, the posting for this position here, and I didn't know it was core values until I read that. I'm like, holy cow, that means a lot. And then, I was like, okay, well, what's this core value stuff? Okay, I get it. Yeah, that's it. And, this company, that's truly what you believe in. And I know your path, that meant a lot for you, why you started this and how you changed how you did things here too.
Yeah. The story is, I've always been a fan of core values. I believe in values. That's fundamental. But the turning point was having a coach say, what are your core values? And I was like, oh yeah, I love what you're saying, like core values. And, I was like, karate here, not out there. And he was like, shut up, And so the process of having a great coach, he said, look, we're not working together unless you have a written set of core values. I want them on everything. I want them on t-shirts. I want them on, cups. I want them everywhere. You're going to hire, fire, and reward and call them out. And I was like, okay, all right, I guess. And then one of the things he made us do, which I thought was really hokey, was at the end of our meetings, we all had to put our hands in. And we all had to call out a core value. And I was like, okay, this is so stupid. Okay. All right. One of our core values is all in attitude. So, okay, all in attitude. 1, 2, 3, all in attitude. I'm like, okay, we'll do this for 2 weeks and that'll be good. But we still do it to this day on Mondays, calling out core values that come alive. And this morning, I'm going to do a shout out to Angela because Angela's officially on vacation. She's a perfect example. Here's the point is that when you lean into the core values and you get the right people in the right seats, it's crazy. You can't even describe what happens. It's so weird because everybody talks like, oh, I want a great team. I want this. I want to have fun at work. And if you really diagnose why aren't you having fun at work or why aren't you getting somewhere, it only comes down to two things. You have the wrong people that have different values, or you're just not getting results. You just don't have them in the right seats. And so simplifying that by saying, hey, look, you hire people because they fit your core values and they get results. And it starts to make things more and more simple. And you lean in your core values. And back to Angela. Angela's on vacation. She's in California. She's supposed to be relaxing. We got hacked this week. So if you got an email from us, just disregard it. And she's working around the clock to get us back up and running. And cyber attacks are no fun. Fortunately, there was no big damage, but I'm like, Angela, you're on vacation. So this morning I was like, she's all in, and give greater than get is another one. And Chris texts me, she's like, she needs a real vacation. I go, yeah, she does. So the point is, this is leaning into that, calling them out. People want to do that. They want to, it's not it becomes easier, I think, when you know what they are and you can celebrate them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. You can think you're on the same page, but unless you kind of know what's written out there, and at least, celebrating victories is an important thing. Getting some acknowledgement means a lot. And, everybody here, I think going along with the right people in the right seats, I think, it feels like a family to me.
Right.
Everybody, I know I can trust that somebody's going to help me if I need the help.
Right.
They're not going to put, we before me.
Right.
Is one of our core values, and that's in full practice. Every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it started as an anti-value, which means this is that was one of the things that I didn't like about the previous experience. So if you're part of the To the Top Study Club or you're a client of ours, one of the exercises we have you do is actually identify your core values. You start by taking a look at things that you do like from people that you have worked with. And then the second step, which is you kind of go down the negative path, are things that you don't like or you didn't like that make you ill, that make you not want to go to work. And there's been situations in the past, and that was my fault, is that I didn't call it out, but like there was a me before we, type of a thing. And me as the owner, I was, I had to, number one, call it out. Number two, I had to live by that and create a culture in doing that. And it's really cool when that starts to happen. So if you're a dentist listening, you got to call those out. What are the things you like? What are the things you don't like? And put words to them. And then your team members can communicate that. Mm-hmm. So, because that was a feeling I had, but I never knew how to describe it accurately without getting angry or fired up. Now it's just a value. That's all it is.
It simplifies it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not a surprise because it's a communicated value.
Yeah.
So if you have to address someone that isn't meeting that value, it shouldn't be a shocker.
Agree.
So it's not like anybody could be blindsided because this is who we are up front.
Amen. 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 So good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
So since you asked me when the last time I got, but when's the last time you got mad?
When was the last time I got mad?
You yelled. Yeah. You haven't done it here.
No, I don't yell here because I don't have to. And then I'll answer it two ways. Yelling at work doesn't work. It just doesn't. I've had an experience where I've worked other places. I've had the great fortune of having ACT for 25 years. But prior to that, I worked in a couple environments where there was yelling. And I was like, my first thought was, okay, if I ever get a chance to do anything, I'm not doing it this way. So I went the other direction. I went to, and I was telling you guys, I went to the really nice end of the spectrum where I wanted to be nice to everybody. And so that's just a fundamental value that I have. But yelling at home, I'm okay with yelling at home. And, the cliche is you pick and choose your battles. So there are battles that you are like, all right, I'm not going to battle this one. But then when there's things that could cross the line, and again, it comes down to values. That's a value. One of us on the family stepped over the line. That's where I'll raise my voice. I'll go, you can get up there. Nobody in this family does. When you get your own family, you can make your own rules. Hey, when you can pay the bill, you can pick, all that kind of stuff. But I try to keep it to a limited, I'm not a yeller. Sarah calls me Disney Dad. Is that bad?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But the yelling, I agree, and I'm guilty of it, but I don't think it's effective.
Yeah.
They just kind of look at you like, is she done yet?
Yeah.
They're not listening. They don't care.
Yeah. I usually don't yell. I'll get all worked up.
And it passes.
Yeah. I say this a lot. I go, we're going to breathe in and we're going to breathe out. And I don't know if it helps, but I don't know.
That's where your karate is.
Karate.
How does he do that?
Yeah. I found when I yell, number one, I don't feel good. And number two, it's not received well. Right. And it's not, number three, it's not effective. I'm like, okay, that wasn't really effective.
Right.
I
remember one of the funniest one is when my daughter, who was in high school, so she's about the same size as me, and I'm trying to make her go to her room. So I'm yelling and pushing her up the stairs. I'm like, I just busted out laughing because I'm like, what am I doing? She's as big as I am. This is not working. And so that made me step back and pause on what my approach how it might change in the future.
Yeah. We're going to get her on the podcast next.
Oh, she'd have some tales.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to take this spin because this, I've been fortunate enough to be on this podcast before, and you guys always ask me what Andy's thinking. I want to know what Laura's thinking today.
Yeah.
What questions do you have?
I like that question. Ooh, wait. Okay, so did you say what questions you had? And then you prompted her with a script.
Yeah.
Oh, so there is some preparation here. And he's pretty good. Don't kid yourself. You're not just a video producer. You're actually a good TV personality too. I think you're...
No, there's a reason. There's a reason I was never on TV. Well, I was on TV, but no. Do you want to look? I've got a voice. No, I don't even have a voice for podcasting.
I think you do.
I don't have a face for TV, that's for sure.
Andy,
have you seen the faces on TV?
Yeah. All right. So what is Laura thinking?
Well, I was a little nervous about this. So
Okay. And back up. Are you really thinking these things or were these pre-written?
Well, they were pre-written prior to my writing them.
Okay.
So I didn't create them, but so I thought the task was to ask questions of each of you.
Ooh, I like this.
And so I'm not even sure if I'm doing this right, but.
Whatever.
It's okay. There's no rules.
Whatever you think is right.
And we won't be censored by the network.
Oh, good. So the other thing I took into mind, though, is if the question comes back to me, I had to make sure that I had an appropriate response as well.
Okay.
So, but, and the one was, and I'd just be curious, and this has probably been asked a zillion times, about what is the best bit of advice that you've ever received?
From me?
Yeah.
I have received?
Yeah. Like life-changing.
Boy, we could do a whole episode on that one. I think my dad, in so many different ways. You can be right or you can be married, but you can't be both. That's probably one of my favorite. And it goes back to picking and choosing your battles. Like, I love my wife. She is amazing. And you can't be right. If you're built with the internal operating system that you have to be right, there's going to be a lot of wreckage. There just is. Yeah. There are going to be times you're being like, okay, this is okay for today. So that's one. I would say you can be right or be married, but you can't be both.
That's good.
So, because I like being married. I coach myself on, I like being married.
Still married.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm
married. Maybe
okay, wait. That's not what I meant, though.
Like, to be right.
Yeah. Another piece of advice is just surround yourself with the right people. That's a little cliche. You hear that all the time. The real magic happens when you have a tool or you can actually see a methodology and how to do it. Because it's one thing to say, surround yourself with the right people, but what does that really mean? And I think really honing in on this process of like core values and people that get results, that is like one of the biggest life-changing things I've ever experienced in business. I would say that has one of the biggest impacts. Another thing is, just raising children. Your children don't hear what you say. They watch what you do. And I think that's a thing that I'm constantly thinking about because I don't always say the right things. I try to be as consistent as possible, but I would hope they have a great, a great pathway or a great memory of no type of a thing. So those are some of my favorite. Now we could go into dental practice, but I think those are kind of secondary. The life ones are always my favorite. So I'm going to ask you guys, what's your favorite advice and both of you? I want to hear from both of you.
Well, mine was, I was actually speaking with a life coach many moons ago, and it was super, super simple, but it's like, all you have to do is flip it. Whatever it is, you can flip it. So her story was, you see a penny on the ground. It's like, it's just a penny. Or, it's a penny. I've got one more penny. So you can look at it something bad or good, but everything is flippable.
I like that.
So it's just your interpretation and how you're going to let it, how you move ahead. Are you going to take a bad attitude or a good attitude? And odds are you're going to be better off with the better attitude with, I got a penny.
Yeah. So in 3 months when it's snowing sideways and it's minus 24, how are we going to flip that?
So, but I just thought that was really basic and it makes me pause every once in a while. And I giggle when I see a penny because I'm like, am I in the right headspace?
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that. What's your favorite advice?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The first thing that came to mind for me is when I was a freshman in college, moving into the dorm, before my dad left, to go home after dropping me off, he said, now, you need to look at this as like it's a job. At least 8 hours a day, you should be focusing on your studies. And that resonated with me for some reason. Number one, like, do you think I'm just gonna, mess this up and do nothing? But it was great advice where I took it seriously. Like, you're right. Holy cow, this is my future. I need to pay attention to these courses and study. Now, did I study for 8 hours every day? No, but I definitely, I guess if I looked at it, I did stuff on the radio station. I did stuff at the TV station. So probably put more than 8 hours in a day, but that's what I loved. And that's where I found my, what I'm good at. So
Yeah.
that meant a lot to me, and that's kind of always come back to me. And in fact, dropping my nephew off at college this week, I wanted to, and I didn't know how I'd take it, so I just wrote it in a card because I'm not the best speaker either. So I'm just like, okay, don't open this now, open it some other time. So whether he takes it to advice or not, but I think he is. So I'd say for me, that was my advice.
That is great advice. I'm going to pass that along to my 2 children who are in college. Because I haven't specifically said that. I'll say consistently, like, do a good grade. You got to study. But thinking about it like a job, I should have gone into college because I spent 8 years in my undergrad. And, I'm not a doctor. So like, I mean, I don't think it was 8 years, but like I went into it thinking, oh my gosh, this is awesome. It's a party. Oh, by the way, you get to go to school during the day. And it was an excuse for me to go away and have fun, and go on to the next phase. I like that.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I love it. I like your questions. I like what Laura's thinking.
That was a good question.
I like this. We're going to make this a weekly episode. What is Laura thinking?
Oh my.
Are you wondering anything else?
Well, I did have this one actually, and do you have a good scar story?
Ooh.
Like have had some injury and
I do. And actually a lot of people here can tell you the scar story.
Oh.
Because it's in a lot of video.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
So my family, I have one scar. And you can actually see a little bit of it. So I'll tell you I'll do a real quick story. So our family, we love to go to the beach. We love to be outside. We just love sunshine. So like when I was younger, baby oil and didn't really, didn't need sunscreen. Who needs sunscreen? Yeah, whatever. Well, one day I go to the dermatologist and they're like, ooh, you got something here. And I'm like, what is it? And they're like, they try to, we're going to have you back. I'm like, what does that mean? And so they do a little bit. They're like, that's a basal cell, so, and I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's a form of cancer, skin cancer. So I go to the MOHS, which is a surgeon that does these procedures. And what they do is they have to dig down. They got to dig down and then they go and they put it on, now I'm paraphrasing, they put it under, I'm hitting things. They have to put it under a microscope. They got to make sure that they get all of the cells. Well, the MOHS had to go in 3 times and dig further and further down into my skull. The third dig, he looks around the screen because you're awake for the whole procedure. And he goes, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you promise for the rest of your life that you'll wear sunscreen and a cap? And he said it like that. I was like, yes, sir. He's like, okay. And went back. And so they sew it up. And I look like Frankenstein. Like it's a long scar. So it's like this long. And what you have to do is you got to let it heal. And then they bring you back and they sand it. They sand it down so it bleeds all again because they want the scar to spread it out, or else it would just look like a zipper type of a thing. So we had to shoot a whole bunch of video during the summer and all this kind of stuff. It was about 4 months and it got infected and all this stuff. And I remember going through that and I was like, for the rest of my life, I'm going to wear sunscreen and now I'm big on going to the dermatologist and all that. So that's my scar. So do you have a scar?
I do. It was my appendicitis, and it was my first week living on the east side, going to UWM. Roommates are gone. I just wasn't feeling good. And I had my big yellow fuzzy robe on, sweating, and I was a block, maybe 2 blocks from Columbia, or St. Mary it was at the time, but I couldn't even walk there. And I just knew something wasn't right. So I was dating a gentleman, and so right away he plants a seed. I bet it's your appendix. It's probably going to burst. I'm like, so now I'm panicked. And so I ended up, I don't even remember how this happened, but getting a hold of my dad, who had to come down to take me those 2 blocks. And I was in so much pain that they're giving me shots in IV, which normally I'm a big baby, but I didn't feel a thing. And so, yeah, my appendix had burst and now I have a cute little scar. But it was crazy. I just moved to the east side. I was this big girl and now I have to call daddy because I don't feel good.
That's a big deal though.
It was kind of scary because you're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
And then that much pain. And then now someone telling me it could be this. And if it bursts, you could die. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. And I have nobody at home with me. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
They didn't have Uber back then.
No, they didn't. Do you have a scar, Andy?
I've got several.
Okay.
I don't know which story to go with. They all happened when I was younger. All right. If you look on my arm, you can't see it now because I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but underneath I have like this whole burn on my arm. You can
it's
see
a
it a little.
burn?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the story goes, as I was learning to walk, I don't know if you remember back as you were a kid, those things with the wheels and you're kind of sitting in.
The walker.
Yeah, the walker thing. So there was a crock pot on the stove and the cord was hanging over. And in slow motion, my mom or my aunt sees me do it. And I dump grease all over my arm. I don't remember a thing. But I know my mom was just terrified.
Yeah.
So that's my scar story.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
But I guess I don't have any tattoos, so that's sort of my tattoo that I
There you go.
gave myself when I was months old.
Those are scar stories are always painful. There's pain associated with some type of scar.
Well, with that burn, that now made me think of back in the day, my sister and I were having dinner and we had those little pouch. Do you ever those pouch like turkey and gravy in a pouch?
Yeah.
And I was wearing a midriff top and I ripped it open and that hot gravy, oh my God, I bubbled up. My whole belly was bubbled and burned. I'm like, I don't do pouches anymore.
Yeah, you don't see those anymore.
No, they were pretty handy, but dangerous.
Yeah. Stay away from pouches.
No doubt.
Yeah. I like this. What other wonderings do you have?
Oh, doesn't anybody else have wonderings? I don't want to.
Oh, I thought you had a big long list of
No.
wonderings.
I just wanted to be prepared.
Oh, okay.
Always prepared.
Good stuff.
Overachiever.
Good.
All right. Well, let's go back then to it being National Podcast Day. I was checking out our International Podcast Day. I'm sorry. I was checking out their website, and they had a little quiz to see how well you know your history on podcasts.
Okay, so I've got my data here.
Okay.
It says 2014.
Good. That's not one of the questions.
Okay, darn it.
It's 9 questions.
Okay.
Would you be interested in
Yes.
participating in this
Please,
quiz?
let's do it.
And it's multiple choice. So
It's in there somewhere.
So you can
Go with your gut.
Yeah,
Go
No, we're
with your
gonna.
gut.
It's me and you. We're together on this.
yeah, you guys are a team.
Okay.
All right. So what company invented the MP3 technology? Was it Google, Apple, or Freyrenhoff Gesellschaft?
I'm gonna go with Gesellschaft because that just sounds funny.
Well, the other two seem too new, so
Yeah.
I'm by default that would be my thought as well.
That is correct.
Whoa!
Freyrenhoff
Look at that!
Gesellschaft.
Ding ding ding
Yeah,
ding ding
way
ding
to go,
ding.
way to go. All right. Who was the first U.S. president to podcast? Was it
Oh.
Barack Obama, George W. Bush, or Bill Clinton?
So 2014. What do you think? I'm gonna go with Clinton.
I was going to do Bush.
Do you guys want to team up? That's 2 different answers. Do you want to work as a team?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Or
Remember who you're
or do
working
you
with.
just
No.
want me to tell you one is right and one is wrong?
Wait.
Well,
Okay.
we
Wait.
can
No.
start with that.
No.
One is right,
What
one
do
is
you want to go
One
with?
is right and one is wrong.
What do you want to go with?
Well, I'd like to go with Bush.
Okay, we're gonna go with Bush.
That's correct.
Yeah, 2 for 2. Look at that.
You guys are on fire.
You know, teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
All
2-0.
The term podcasting was first mentioned by who? Ben Hammersley, Leo Laporte, or Jake Butterfield?
By default.
I am not familiar with any person. You might as well just say, blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm going to go with the Jake guy. Who's the Jake guy? Is that correct?
What was the last name?
Of Jake?
Yeah.
Butterfield.
That's who I was going for, Butterfield.
It's Ben Hammersley.
Oh, we got that one
Ben
wrong.
Hammersley.
Why?
Do we know
Do you know who that is?
I don't have any idea.
Okay.
I'm just going to let you guys know I took this quiz before I printed it off, and right now we're tied. You guys still have a chance to improve.
Oh, we're
Just so you can
tied.
redeem
We're in the
yourself
bonus
with
round.
Barrett.
Yeah, so
ding, 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 ding.
You have a chance to win this week.
Okay. Thank
Tell
God.
Barrett.
Because
You need a win.
Or we're
I
not
do.
there yet. Let's go.
I need. Yeah.
All right. In what year did the first portable MP3 player appear? 1998, 2000, or 1999?
Ooh, what do you think?
I would do the 98 or 99.
What do you think? Oh, we're going to go with 90. 98? Let's go with
Sure.
98.
Sure.
98.
It was 99. What was the first ever podcast? A serialized story told one episode at a time, a series of interviews on blogging and politics, or a daily podcast about life and programming?
What was number 2 again? It was a
series of interviews on blogging and politics.
boy. Well, do you have an opinion?
I'm equal across the board. I don't have an opinion.
Let's go with blogging and politics.
That's correct.
Whoa! Ding, 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 ding.
Pod safe music means audio which contains no malware. Any work through its licensing allows its usage, or it contains no foul language.
Oh, PodSafe is number 2, I believe. It's licensing music you can use licensing free. Correct?
That is correct.
Ooh,
that.
you are a winner.
Hey, we're doing good. We're doing good.
Is it 4 correct?
4 correct out of 9?
Out of 5 so far. You're 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 so far. We've
right.
got a few more to go.
Good work.
Who is the author of the RSS format? Dave Winner, Adam Carolla, or Douglas Engelbart?
So I don't know anyone other than Adam Carolla. He is a comedian.
That's true.
And he's very funny.
I agree.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
What do you think?
That would be incorrect.
What is RSS?
Yeah, it's like a feed thing, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it's the way you and I'm going to get this totally wrong. Somebody's going to say you don't know what you're talking about, which is true. So,
Yeah.
but it's a way that you receive feeds and stuff through audio.
Okay.
About Dave Winner.
Dave.
Yeah.
Dave.
Writing this down for the next time?
Yeah, I am.
What?
Dave Winter.
What is an ID 3 tag? A medical information bracelet, metadata container used to store information about an MP3, or a metal necklace military members wear?
Okay, so this is a podcast quiz.
Right.
Option 1 and 3 do not relate to podcasts. So I would say number 2. Wouldn't you agree?
That's correct.
Whoa, that's called deductive reasoning.
Well,
isn't it?
Wow. Did it
Yeah.
hurt?
Do you like that? I put 2 words together that I...
All right, a few more to go here.
Okay.
In 2005, Apple introduced podcasts to which version of iTunes? 5.0, 4.8, or 4.9?
Where did you get this quiz
Lord.
from?
Off the International Podcast Day website.
Oh, you get to pick this one.
Oh my God. Say it again.
In 2005, Apple introduced podcasts into which version of iTunes? 5.0, 4.8, or 4.9?
Let's go with 5.0.
I like that.
4.9. Well, you guys did.
It's all right.
You guys,
We're doing well.
Crushed it.
We're doing good.
That ends the quiz.
That ends the quiz.
Yeah.
There
What
we
was
go.
our net score?
It's 6.
Sorry.
It's a pod score. It's not a.
What's our pod?
Once I was you were like 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
And then it sort of shouldn't have brought that up. You got a couple more. I think you had 6.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Good job.
Good stuff.
You
Good
guys
stuff.
know your podcast.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I love this. This is fun. Okay, so every Friday we're going to come in and just have coffee and just hang out. But this has been awesome. We actually have our master class. I don't know if it's started yet, but it's starting right now. I don't know.
You got a little bit.
We got a little bit. So this morning, if you guys are paying attention along at home, we have developed the money roadmap tool to help dentists be a lot more profitable in dentistry. And Dr. Barrett Straub's going to take us through that masterclass. It is going to be amazing. You're going to get a copy of the money tool itself. Anyone could join the masterclass if you have the link. I don't have it for you right now, but we'll make sure we'll put it in the show notes episodes, and then make sure you check out other stuff too. We have our To the Top Study Club here, which is next Friday. It's completely sold out, and we actually had to open up another one, a second one.
It's crazy.
So on October 7th, we have our To the Top Study Club, and then we open up a second one on October 21st.
Correct.
And it's one day where you can come, hang out, make an appointment with yourself to improve your thinking, your business, how you lead, and you'll be in the room with other people that are doing the exact same thing. So dentistry is hard. Don't try to do it on your own. Leading a business is hard. Don't try to do it on your own. And you'll be supported with a lot of great tools. So make sure you check all that stuff out. Keep listening to the podcast. Keep sending us suggestions for things you guys want to see. We've got an amazing lineup coming in the fall, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for putting this together, Andy.
Yeah, my
Andy.
pleasure. This was great. I'm glad I stumbled across this day to celebrate.
Yeah. And I learned a lot. I learned about scars. I learned about best advice. It's all good. That's what it's about. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it, share with your friends. Keep sending us all those things. And until we see you guys next time, or you hear from us next time, keep watching or keep listening to the Best Practices Show. Have a great day, everybody.